Samsung has pretty much released most, if not all, of the A series devices for the year 2022, from the budget-friendly Galaxy A03 to the not-so-budget-friendly Samsung Galaxy A73. In between, we have the Galaxy A13, A23, A33, and A53. Each of these devices are easily recommendable, but let's take a look at what separates each of them and which is the best value for money. Let's get started. The A series is Samsung's mid-range to budget series of smartphones, and each year at least one of them makes it as top-selling Android phone of the year. This year, most of them have seen significant upgrades from their predecessors, but only one actually has the most improvements from the year before. I have reviews and comparison videos featuring these devices and still more to come. I'll leave links in the description so you can check out these reviews. Now, this video won't be as detailed, but just highlights of each device. I'll also have affiliate links in the description so you can support the channel by using those if you want to purchase any of these. Now, first off, some features actually separate these into two categories. Let's call them the higher A series and lower A series devices. Now, the higher A series comprise of the Galaxy A73, A53, and A33. These have a lot in common, starting from similarity in design, all 5G, Super AMOLED display, and also no headphone jack. There is also similarity in packaging, as none of these higher A series devices gets charger in the box. The lower A series all have the headphone jack and also gets the charger in the box. They all get the same 5000 mAh battery capacity, and the top three get 25 watts fast charging. Now, starting with the most affordable in the series, the Samsung Galaxy A03 is that budget device suitable for someone on a really tight budget but wants something that can run your regular apps well enough. It has a processor powerful enough to get benchmark scores higher than the A13, that is the uniqueness T606. Now, by virtue of that, you get decent gaming performance on a budget. Now, this is the same processor you find on the higher Nokia G21. At this price point, expectations should be low for its camera, but I think it does okay. It gets a 48 megapixel main camera, 2 megapixel depth sensor, and a 5 megapixel selfie camera. The A03 is the only device on this list on an older Android version, that is Android 11 and One UI Core version 3.1. It should get Android 12 in the not too distant future though. My only problems with this device is the lack of fingerprint scanner, the use of a micro USB port, and the fact that it doesn't get fast charging. Those aside, I think you'll find this a solid device for the price. I recommend getting the one with 4GB of RAM. The base version retails for 60,900 naira, that's around $105. Now, the Samsung Galaxy A13 is one interesting device, but not so impressive in performance when compared to the competition at this price point. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a good upgrade from the A12 in pretty much every way. It has solid build quality, same display standard as the higher A23, except that it is 60Hz, has a good 1080p display with Gorilla Glass 5 protection. I think that's the best build quality at this price point. Feel free to correct me on that one. Its cameras are also really good and will probably give you the best quality for its price range. It gets a 50 megapixel quad rear camera and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. The A13 has great software in the form of Android 12 and One UI 4.1 core version. It will also get at least 2 major OS upgrades. It however lacks One UI features like Edge Panel, which is present on the budget A03. Now, depending on your familiarity with One UI, that might impact your multitasking experience if you rely on it. The Galaxy A13 is powered by the Exynos 850, which is pretty decent for this device, but compared to the competition, it isn't just up to standard. We see the Snapdragon 680 on the likes of the Redmi 10C and the Helio G85 on the likes of the Infinix Hot 12. It checks every box for a solid smartphone except the processor, which could have been better, and it might lag if you throw too much at it. Now, the A13 retails for around 95,000 naira for the base model with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal memory. Now, the Galaxy A23. This one is a great upgrade from the A22 except for the display, which is great, but just not AMOLED. It is however protected with Gorilla Glass 5. It is powered by the Snapdragon 680, which is a pretty good processor and worthy of the price. It runs on the more complete version of One UI 4.1, not the core version. The A23 also has great cameras, which takes great photos. It gets the same camera configuration as the A13, but its rear camera is supposed to have OIS, but it doesn't really feel like it. The videos from this makes you question if OIS is actually present. For this region, we only get the 4G version for the A23. I have no major complaints about this one other than that water drop notch TFT display and the subpar OIS. Those aside, this is a great device for its price, even though it's not a very significant upgrade from the A22. Now onto the more expensive A series devices, starting with the Samsung Galaxy A33. This is easily the sweet spot and it's the one I can recommend the most because of just how much it is an upgrade from the A32 and how close it is to the Galaxy A53. It packs just the same processing power as the higher A53 thanks to the Exynos 1280. It has a great AMOLED display, though that Infinity U style could have been a hole punch. It also gets 90Hz screen refresh rate, which is not the highest for its price point, but good enough. It pretty much checks every box for phones I would recommend. It has cameras just as good as that of the A53, sporting a 48 megapixel quad rear camera setup with a 13 megapixel selfie camera, able to record 4K videos, gets IP67 water and dust resistance rating, and has mostly the same build quality as the higher A series. It gets stereo speakers, also gets 4 years of major OS upgrades, that is Android 16 guaranteed for the A33. While the Exynos 1280 still requires some optimization for games, you can expect a solid performance from it. The only complaint I have about the A33 aside its price is the fact that you don't get a charger in the box. The A33 costs around $330 or 183,000 naira, and you get it with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage. The Samsung Galaxy A53 you can say is a more complete version of the A33 we just looked at, as it gets 120Hz high refresh rate display, a better hole punch display design, and slightly better cameras. It gets the same camera configuration as its predecessor the A52, but image processing here is much better. We see a 64 megapixel quad rear camera setup with a good 32 megapixel selfie camera. The A53, just like the others, gets Android 12 out of the box and One UI 4.1. Also getting 4 major OS upgrades. It runs on the same Exynos 1280 processor as the A33, has slimmer chin on the display and more screen to body ratio. It is a decent upgrade from the A52, though most might complain of the Exynos processor, but I say it's a great device and I've barely had any concerns. You will only be bothered by the lack of optimization if you want to play games at high graphics. The processor is quite capable, but the games have just not been optimized for it. You can't actually go wrong with the A53, and I see it as a worthy successor to the A52. It costs about $450, that is about 220,000 naira, and if you get lucky you might even see it for 20k less in Nigeria, that is. Now to the top of the chain is the A73, which honestly you could say is priced quite high and doesn't offer enough to separate it from say the A52s 5G. It gets exactly the same design and build quality as the A53, but it is bigger in size at 6.7 inches. It is powered by the Snapdragon 778G, which is a great processor, but is the same one on the more affordable A52s 5G. It also gets a Super AMOLED Plus display with 120Hz high refresh rate. It gets a new 108 megapixel camera, which does great to get you good photos. Sadly, it loses the telephoto camera from the A72, and that would have been a great addition. The rest of its cameras are same configuration as the A53, including the selfie camera, which is 32 megapixels. Now, the Galaxy A73 costs about $550 or 269,000 naira, and you only get 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage. There's the 8 gig version with higher storage, which costs way more. From my experience using the A73, it has this premium feel that puts the user experience just slightly above the A53, and I'll say if you don't mind splashing the cash, it will meet your expectations. It is actually the one I find myself using the most. However, because of its price, you might want to look at say the S20 FE or even the more affordable A52s 5G, which has the same processor. Now, of all the A-series devices, the one with the most significant upgrades from its predecessor and in my opinion the best value for money is the A33, which is so close in performance to the A53. The A73 is great but pricey. The A23 is also recommendable, but it doesn't really have major features that stand out, though it's still great. The A13 will give you the best build quality, display and cameras for its price, but that processor just won't be capable of some heavy lifting. The A03 is capable and will do well for someone on a really tight budget who doesn't mind the lack of USB-C and a fingerprint scanner. So that's all the A-series devices released so far for 2022. Which of them did you get or which are you planning to get? Let me know in the comments section, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up if this video was helpful. Also consider subscribing to the channel. Peace.